October 22nd, 2025 meeting of the Ogden Town Board to order. We stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd ask you to remain standing for a moment of silent reflection and prayer for military servicemen and women serving around the world, as well as for our first responders. Thank you. I'd like to start today's meeting with our 2026 preliminary budget hearing and public comment as well. So,
notice is hereby given that the 2026 preliminary budget of the town of Ogden and the 2026 preliminary special district assessments for the fiscal year beginning January 1, 2026 have been completed and available in the office of the town clerk, 269 Ogden Center Road, Spencerport, New York, 14559, on October 8, 2025, where it will be available for inspection by any interested persons during regular normal business hours. Further notice is hereby given that the town board of the town of Ogden will meet and review said preliminary budget and special district assessments and will act on any other official business that may come before said meeting, will hold a public hearing thereon at the Ogden Community Center, 269 Ogden Center Road, Spencerport, New York, at a regular meeting of the town board to be held on Wednesday, the 22nd day of October 2025 at 7 p.m. And at such public hearing, all persons shall be heard in favor or against the preliminary budget.
thank you, Madam Clerk. I'd like to introduce everybody to Sherry Foley, our Finance Director, who will be leading our 2026 budget presentation.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 2026 preliminary budget presentation. Thanks for joining us. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge a few people. This budget would not have been possible or successful without Ogden's department heads. Thank you for your help, for answering my questions, all of them, and for sharing your knowledge with me. You guys are amazing, and I appreciate you greatly. And I'm grateful for the support of this wonderful board and Supervisor Zale. Thank you for all you do. The 2026 proposed budget is $17,213,315. This budget is the total of all the town's funds, which are comprised of the following four components. The general fund, which is the town's major fund. It applies to both the Village of Spencerport residents and the town residents. The part-town fund applies to people who live outside of the Village of Spencerport, as does the highway fund. And the town has special districts. These funds are the ambulance fund, lighting funds, townwide drainage, and the sewer districts. The proposed tax rates for 2026 are as follows: $3.19. This is the tax rate per $1,000 of assessed property value that everyone in the town of Ogden and Village of Spencerport will pay. $3.74. For the people living outside of the Village of Spencerport, they must also pay for the services provided by the Highway Department. This is an additional 55 cents per $1,000 of assessed property value. That means that you will pay $3.74 per $1,000 of assessed property value in 2026. This slide shows you the tax rate history from 23 through 2025 and compared to the 2026 proposed rate. When you look at this graph, you can see that the tax rates were fairly consistent in 23 and 24, but for 2025, there's a noticeable change. This was due to the townwide reassessment done in 2024 for 2025. You can also see a bit of consistency between 25 and 26's rates. The 2026 tax cap based on Albany's standards is $9,119,298. The town of Ogden's proposed 2026 tax levy is $9,328,240, a difference of approximately $209,000. This difference is actually far less than the unfunded mandates that are forced upon the town through costs that we cannot control. Through cautious and conscientious budgeting, however, we were able to insulate many of these expenses from the public taxpayer. We'll look more deeply at these costs in a few moments. Here is the tax levy history from 22 to 26. You can see how rising costs have affected the tax levy annually, as it increased an average of $298,000 per year. I'm going to get my work done first. We're looking at some services provided by the town. The general fund is the town's main operating fund, and it houses these following departments, as you can see, starting with the supervisor, town board attorney, and straight down through to the conservation board. That is your general fund. Everyone who resides in the town, as well as the village, pays for these services. This is where $3.19 of the tax levy per $1,000 of assessed property value goes. Our part-town fund, also shown there, does not include residents in the village of Spencerport. This fund has a zero tax levy and is comprised of the following departments: building inspection, parks, planning and zoning boards, street lighting, cemeteries, and emergency preparedness. This fund is primarily funded by sales tax revenue and fees collected by the building department. Again, there is no tax burden to the taxpayers for these services. The extra 55 cents per $1,000 of assessed property value solely supports the functions of our highway department, which includes street maintenance, snow removal, brush, weeds, and leaves, machinery, and services to other governments. The rectangles at the bottom of the page represent the town's special districts. There is a drainage district for surface water. We have two sanitary sewer districts, the Consolidated and the Bella Estates District. There are 6 lighting districts and the ambulance district. Let's look at these districts more closely. A little overview of the spreadsheet. You can see that the fund is listed in the left-hand column. The expenditures in the next column are the budgeted expenses for 2026. It is the budgeted expenditures less estimated revenues, less fund balance, that actually equals the amount to be raised by taxes. Let me further explain this. The ambulance district is on the first line. For the ambulance district, there will be an additional 31 cents per $1,000 of assessed property value added to your taxes. This is a town-wide charge. Everyone, including the Village of Spencerport residents, will pay this. The next 6 lines down are our lighting districts. The lighting districts are for residents who want street lighting in their neighborhood. These districts must pay for the lights, the fixtures, the repairs, and the energy usage in each district. The town charges for these costs through the taxes. This is a one-time charge per year on your taxes. So looking at the Inglewood Lighting District, if you reside in that district, in the 2026 tax rate column, you will have a one-time charge of $37.32 added to your taxes. Let's look at another one, the Bella Estates, 2 up from the bottom. If you are a part of the Bella Estates sewer district, then you will have a one-time charge of $28.90 added to your 2026 taxes. You can see how this works consistently with the lights and with the sewer districts and the town-wide drainage. A lot of numbers. If you have questions, please ask later. The town continues to have no debt, and we're not expecting to incur any debt in 2026 unless a new water district is established. While preparing this budget, we had to work with quite a few assumptions this year. First one, minimum wage increase. Again, minimum wage increased 50 cents per hour for 2026. We also had to work with declining interest rates. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, fluctuating interest rates affect our investment earnings, which helped offset taxes, but right now, interest rates are unpredictable. Here's the significance of them. When the town can budget more interest income, then we can potentially plan for levying less taxes. We had to work with an increase in health insurance costs. This increase was 13.9% over 2025's cost. There are over 50 people on the town's health care. This is an annual increase for 2026 of $115,000. The Teamsters health insurance for our highway team increased 7%, or $15,500. Dental insurance increased 4.2%, or $2,000. We had an increase in the retiree medical health insurance costs. This increased 9%, or $13,000. We had increases in workers' compensation and liability insurances. Workers' compensation is increasing $11,300 this year, and our liability insurance is increasing $44,000. The increase for costs for New York State retirement, the increase is over 16%, or $146,000 for the 2026 budget. Increase in costs for materials, vehicles, equipment, utilities. These prices are rising, as I'm sure each of you has experienced in your own everyday lives. But let me share with you my research. The town purchased a police interceptor vehicle in 2021. It cost $40,058. Recently in 2025, the town purchased an interceptor at a cost of $51,583. It increased $22,281 in less than 4 years. Another example of these rising costs can be seen in a recent equipment purchase. The town bought a Volvo dump truck. In 2021, that Volvo truck cost $224,000. We bought a Volvo dump truck in 2025. It cost $313,000, an increase of $89,000. The known costs that I shared with you tonight total $347,000. There are costs that I can't really put numbers onto, but all of these costs, the town has no control over them. Important to remember. We have some project highlights for 2026. We do heat pump replacements as needed annually. Installing gutters where ice pulling is affecting the parking lot will be going on in 2026. Exterior steel doors. This is an ongoing project. The town's doors are older, rotting, and rusting, and the seals are bad. Fixing these and replacing these will improve energy efficiency. Vehicle replacements, we have 2 this year. Elevator repair. This is needed for ADA and for simply allowing participants to access the 2nd floor of the building. Pump station repairs. These are vital, necessary, and preventative to be sure that pump stations will work properly and not fail. Townwide signage. This is an ongoing project at the town of Ogden which will help residents find their way around the community center and other town facilities. And we will continue to do townwide park enhancements in 2026. Here's a budget summary by fund. The primary funds we've mentioned are in the left-hand column. Once again, expenses or appropriations are in the next column. Same as before. You have expenses, less estimated revenues, less fund balance projected to be used, and that equals your tax levy. The appropriations for all of these funds equals $17,213,315, the total I showed you before of the total budget anticipated for 2026. These funds do have estimated revenues. These can come from fees, mortgage tax, grants, interest, sales tax, whatever the source of the revenues are, we back that off of the appropriations. And then we have fund balance projected to be used in most of the funds. By doing this, appropriations minus revenues and fund balance, we come up with our 2026 tax levy of $9,328,240. This is an expense distribution of our major departments in the town. They are listed as a percentage of the total town budget. Safety inspection is our building department, GIS, construction inspections comprise 3.27% of the total budget. The library totals 3.9% of the total budget. The ambulance district, 4.06%. Parks, 4.84%. Recreation, 5.58%. Police, all of their activities, including animal control and special police, totals 21.67% of the total budget. And highway, all activities, total 29.27%. We're going to look at the general fund expenses. There are departments with between 2% and 5% of total general fund budget. You can see these departments, their supervisor, clerk, assessment, town court, central services, finance, human resources, street administration, all between 2 and 5% of the total general fund budget. We also have others that are less than 2% of the total budget. You can see town board, attorney, historian, conservation, program for aging. Departments with less than 2%, when they're in that category, it does not mean that these departments are less important. It simply means that these departments have fewer operating costs. I've included prior year's data for your reference in this slide. These are the general fund expenditures they're highlighted for you categorically. So the general fund total budget is $9,121,245. Personnel, this is what we pay the staff and elected officials, 42% of the total general fund budget. Employee benefits, this is comprised of the town's portion of Social Security, Medicare, health insurance, retirement, vision, and dental, for 27%. Equipment, self-explanatory, 4%. And contracted services, this is everything else we need and buy, like software support, electricity, office supplies, fuel, toilet paper, literally everything else is 27% of the general fund budget. I'm gonna go again. Our part-town total budget, $1,547,310. There are major departments in the part-town fund. The parks comprises 53.84% of the total part-town budget. The building inspection is 36.41% of that total budget. But there are other departments that are less than 5% of the total part-town fund budget, like street lighting, planning and zoning boards, and cemeteries. To be consistent, here's the breakdown of part-town's expenses categorically. Personnel, 37%. Employee benefits, 18%. Equipment, 7%. Contracted services, 38%. Oh, there's your color. The highway fund, here are their expenses by department. There are major departments in the highway fund. Street maintenance comprises 64.84% of the total highway budget. This is any town road work, sweeping, signs, training. Does not include any drainage, pump stations, or snow removal. Snow removal is 9.51% of the total highway budget. And machinery and maintenance, these are our mechanics, their supplies, parts, tools they need to keep highway vehicles safe, repaired, and working properly. They comprise 7.79% of that budget. But again, highway has some departments that comprise less than 5% of the total highway fund. And that's their brush, weeds, and leaves, and other governmental services. Categorically, for the highway department, highway fund, they have a $5,038,245 budget. Personnel comprises 29% of it. Employee benefits are 21% of it. Equipment is 12%, and contracted services comprise 38%. Your favorite slide. Questions?
Okay, thank you, Sherry. Turn this on. Thank you so much, Sherry. At this point, we'll conduct the public hearing. If anyone has any questions, or if anyone has any comments or thoughts as it relates to this budget, I would just ask that you come forward, state your name and address, and you can simply state your thoughts. Yes, just to reiterate, as I heard the whisper in the back, this is just as it relates to the budget, correct?
I think it speaks to the quality of Sherry's presentation.
Thank you.
Well done, Sherry.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
With that, I'll close the public hearing for the 2026 budget presentation. Nice job, Sherry.
Yes, very nice.
Okay, next, I would actually like to invite the town board members to the podium here. I'd also like to invite up Spencerport Mayor Gary Penders, Monroe County Legislator Robert Colby, and Assemblyman Josh Jensen right to the front here to join me. I'd also like to invite up some special guests here because we want to do a bit of an honor and presentation. So I'd like to introduce and invite up Chief Travis Gray of the Ogden Police Department, Chief Geffert of the Gates Volunteer Ambulance, and Chief Bromage from Spencerport Fire District just to come forward during this. So the reason that we have invited these guests today is to pay tribute and honor to our first responders here in the town of Ogden. There are different dates on the calendar that pay tribute to our first responders, and we kind of wanted to make sure that we did this honor all in one shot here. Them being here means they're not out there, and I'm sure that they, because I know each one of them love the limelight and the attention. And so we wanted to just honor their time and their commitment to this community by doing this all in one fell swoop here. But I wanted just to start this by saying, because you do this enough years, you want to always pay tribute, and I kind of wanted to take a little bit of a different twist here. For all the things that I know will be said that I will echo and give sentiments to, I actually want to spend all of my time paying tribute to the fact that we worked together this year to do something. And it's the biggest thing, even going door to door, talking to residents that everybody talks about is opening the Gillette Road Bridge. And I know that was a significant thing for the community, but I look at it from the standpoint of it was really significant for me personally to be able to work with these leaders on something that effectively made a significant change in the landscape of our town. And it really was the question that was asked of them, how significant is this bridge closure to public safety? And they really were the ones that kind of put their expertise down on paper. And honestly, I give that all the credit in the world. That's really what started to turn the events of things that led to this bridge opening safely. And so I just wanted to say thank you on a personal note. I know I've said it before in email and in text and phone call, but saying it publicly is meaningful as well. The ability to just come together on a single purpose and then to actually see that accomplished is really kind of cool, if we're being honest. So I just want to say thank you from that standpoint, and from all the others I know you'll hear here in just a second. So from me personally, but also on behalf of the town, I'm so grateful for that partnership that we really interact really on a daily basis. So with that, I actually wanted to turn it over to a couple of our honored guests here and give them the opportunity to share their remarks. So actually would like to start with Spencerport Mayor Gary Penders for your comments.
Well, thank you, and thank you, folks. You're something in our community that we couldn't live without, and that's the honest truth. I have been part of one of the organizations for a major part of my life, enjoyed every minute of it, and I would do it all over again. Still try to stay involved a little bit. I'm with the 911 board and the fire advisory board, so I'm still kind of a little bit active, but all the younger guys are taking care of it now, because firefighting is a young guy sport, as any of this, police, EMS is, and they're all vital, essential things that we need in the village of Spencerport and the town of Ogden. So you guys do a great job, and hopefully it continues on that way too. So always love the volunteers and all the police and everybody. So way back to the Bartons and Tink Burley, all them. I was around for all that. Charlie Ballard, really back there. But we did resolution for all three organizations. I'll just read one here real quick. First responders, including public works professionals, firefighters, police officers, emergency medical technicians, 911 operators, paramedics, and other emergency personnel, stand on the front line of our community, selflessly serving and protecting the citizens of the village of Spencerport in times of crisis. And first responders respond swiftly and courageously to emergencies, often putting their own lives at risk to ensure the safety and well-being of others, whether in natural disasters, accidents, medical emergencies, or public health and safety threats. And it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children of the village of Spencerport to gain knowledge and to maintain an ongoing interest in the understanding of the importance of public works and other first responders' efforts in their respective communities. And the year 2025 marks the 7th annual National Fire Responders Day, sponsored by a bipartisan resolution of the U.S. Senate and House. Be it now, I, Mayor Gary Penders, do designate October 28th, 2025 as National First Responders Day. I urge all citizens to join with representatives paying tribute to the Gates Volunteer Ambulance, the Spencerport Fire Department, and the Ogden Police Department to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protect our health, safety, and advancing the quality of life for all. I therefore hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the village of Spencerport to be affixed, done at the village of Spencerport, New York, on this 22nd day of October 25th. Also, Carolyn Ellis Yule, Steve Cousins, trustee, Charlie Hobson, trustee, and Ray Coons, trustee. So, again, thank you all.
Next, to say a few words, I'd like to invite Monroe County Legislator Robert Cole.
There's not much I can add to what he just said. So it's just one important thing is when I see organizations like the three we have before us, a lot of times they get tied up in their own little silo. You know, each one takes care of the department, doesn't really worry about the other one. But I have seen these three organizations, both when there's an active scene, work together without any argument of who's in charge. They just work to get the job done. But it's not just then, they also work together in planning activities. They work together to make sure they know who's going to do what, when, and where. Because when there is an emergency, time is essential. So to have that coordination on a regular basis, without question, is one of the highlights this town has, having these three organizations work so well together. So with that, I'd like to thank you guys for your service, and gals for your service, and that's all I have.
Next, I'd like to invite Assemblyman Josh Jensen.
Thank you Supervisor, and I'm so happy to be here to celebrate Ogden and Spencerport's first responders, and I just want to associate myself and echo the comments of Supervisor Zale, Mayor Penders, Legislator Colby, about how dedicated the three agencies are that are here before us and serve this community. Certainly when you turn on the news, there can be a lot of doom and gloom, but certainly it is because of dedicated public servants, like our police officers, like our EMTs and paramedics, like our firefighters, that they are the definition of what public servants are. That when somebody needs help, when they're having the worst day of their life, it is the men and women who serve and often put their own lives at risk to help others that truly inspires what community is all about. And certainly when it's done on a paid basis or a volunteer basis, it takes a lot to care enough about your fellow man to be willing to give yourself for them. So on behalf of not just the residents of the town of Ogden and the village of Spencerport, but also because of the nature of emergency response, is that emergencies don't know municipal lines. That if our neighbors in Parma or Clarkson or Gates or Chi-Li are in a time of crisis, all three agencies are willing to step up and say, how can we help? How can we serve? And for that, you are worthy of commendation, not just today, but every day. So I also have citations. They're not nearly as nice as Mayor Penders are, so I'm not going to read them. But it is my honor on behalf of the state of New York to present them to all three agencies. Thank you.
With that, I'd actually like to invite the chiefs to come and say words if they'd like. Chief Geffert, you gave me the look of, there's no way I'm saying it. Maybe
You want me to
one or
talk
two,
again?
maybe you could speak on behalf of everybody, but come on forward.
Here it is, how you guys cooperating together.
Thank you. Thank you, Supervisor Zale, gentlemen, for your kind words. It really is my honor today to accept this recognition on behalf of the Spencerport Fire Department, both the association and district. We have a proud 135-year serving as volunteers in this area, and doing our best for the community. Community trust is earned, as recent events have shown. We must always strive to do our best. You have my pledge that we will do that. We're very fortunate to be working closely with law enforcement and EMS here at the scene, but also with the village, the schools, the town, and the highway department. So very fortunate. I'm not from here, as you can probably tell. I need subtitles. But thank you all for embracing me and my family, and very honored to serve. Thank you.
I just want to echo what the chief said there. You know, I represent the police department, and I really appreciate all the kind words, but the credit goes to the men and women that work the street, you know. They're the ones that make this stuff happen, and as someone who spent many years working road patrol overnights, I know how difficult of a job it can be, and this community is very special because we have the support of the community. I talk to my colleagues across the county, the state, the nation, and they don't all have that. And it makes our job a lot easier knowing that we have the support of the village, the town, the county, and really makes it a lot easier for us. So I can't thank you guys enough for the support. It makes our jobs easier. And the other thing too, I'm the youngest chief in the county. You know, to the mayor's point, this is a young person's job. But with that, I've been chief longer than some in the county. And one of the biggest things that I've learned is just as an example, today, I sent an email to this little group about a need that I had for my department, and within minutes, my phone is ringing and I have responses. So, you don't need to be the most tenured or senior person to be able to know who to ask when the time comes up. And that's, as chief, I'm thankful to you guys for that, so I really, really appreciate that, so, that's all I have.
Great.
Thank you all.
With that, the town also has a recognition for you all that we'll make sure that you guys get. But just want to close this weirdly and thank the board and the village and the county as well for their assistance in this. Whether you know this or not, the community through specific funding that happens at budget time supports the police department and the ambulance district. And the fire district, because of law, has their own abilities to do so. But these agencies operate truly on a very tight budget process. And I just want to give a special thanks to those that vote on these budgets, because they do so with a great amount of thoughtfulness, not just on the side of needing equipment and people, but also residents and taxpayers. And that's not an easy job. So I equally wanted to extend that to those that vote on these budgets as well. And so with that, I just wanted to close this by saying thank you once again. And I'm sure we want to grab group photo. Group photo, okay. Thank you so much.
If I could have everyone kind of center here.
You get in front, you hear that all the time, don't you?
Do you want to hold
You guys gotta get in the middle, you're the ones.
Yeah, everyone can take like two steps forward.
We'll round it.
Take one step forward, everybody.
Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Crisscross.
Hey, Aaron.
Crisscross.
No, thank you.
One up here.
Just a reminder, they're all digital. You can really take them.
Thank you very much. That takes the fun out of it.
It does.
Yes, thank you.
All right, with that, we'll move to approval of the minutes. This is Resolution 256.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Tom, second by Councilman Baker. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, we have privilege of the floor. This is a time where you can come and address any topic with the board, including the budget. But this is the opportunity for the board to listen to comments from residents. So I'll open up privilege of the floor. Good evening.
Hi. Seems like it's so close.
It does seem close, doesn't it?
I love it.
Sure.
Hi, my name is Leslie Cochran, 312 Village Walk Circle. And I'm looking ahead at some of the resolutions, and one that particularly caught my eye is resolution number 259-10.22.
Sure.
And I know you don't have to answer answer me, but I would just like to put a few questions out there. To what ends are you voting on this, and the stance that you're taking is being opposed to clean energy? And limiting, I know that you're for, you say, offering more options for residents and homeowners. However, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's my understanding that this bill applies to new buildings. Okay, and I'm not aware that there's that much development happening in Spencerport or any place really right now. And I guess I'm just thinking, it's a little embarrassing as an Ogden resident to think that we would vote against the clean energy bills that have been passed already. I personally like to think ahead to the next generations, not just what's affecting me now. I'll admit, we have a gas stove in our house in an area that's just electric, but I can tell you right now that the next stove we buy will be electric, and I will be just getting rid of our propane tank that we have right now. And it just sort of looks dirty. It just looks really bad on the town of Ogden. It looks like a softball to developers who would rather have maybe gas or, natural gas as an option for their, residents that they hope to sell houses to. I don't think it's a good choice for New York State citizens to go backwards. It also looks like posturing for the GOP. And I just think that, it really does. I mean, let's face it, there's, the way that Democrats tend to look at energy, and there's the way that Republicans tend to look at energy. And I think it looks like posturing. And, I think it's not something that our town should be making a vote on, since this is something that's above our town. I mean, Mike, when you came and were running for office initially, you came to our house, because we do have a Republican living in our house, and you laughed as you approached me, and I said, I'm not a Republican. And you said, well, there's really no Republican or Democrat way to fix roads, meaning local government stays local. And I think that this is overreach on the town of Ogden to make this grand gesture towards something that's at a higher level, that's at the state level and at the national level. So I just would like to leave that and make that statement very clear, that I am, as a voting citizen, vehemently opposed to going backwards on the environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to address the board at this time? I can't tell if you're coming forward or if you're leaving. All right, going once. Anybody that wishes to speak on any of these topics? Okay, I will close the privilege of the floor then. There's no reports and remittances, town audits or correspondence, so we'll go to reports from town officers. So I want to honestly start with a tremendous amount of gratitude to our employees and our department heads here, most of which are here in the audience tonight. It would take a very long time to explain just how many different pieces of this town you touch on a daily basis. You got to see a bunch of it here. I mean, just look at that book that's up there that Sherry made. I mean, I wouldn't even want to read something that big. I mean, I have, but let alone creating all of it. I'll read a couple of the things. The Senior Center had their annual Fall Fest luncheon at Boucher Lodge that touches seniors. Our wellness team conducted an enormous wellness fair today. So many local vendors, very strong employee participation in health and wellness. The Parks and Recreation renovation project that's ongoing, that we met on and we meet on a regular basis, that is in full force going forward. Chief Gray and I attending the school district's transportation department today to support Operation Safe Stop. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on for all the things that happen. And I just wanted to take a second on behalf of the board to just thank all of you for everything that you do. all the creative ideas, all the times when I say, hey, I've got an idea, and everyone kind of goes, oh boy, buckle up. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and so thank you for everything that you do. On the Operation Safe Stop, the Spencerport Central School District is the newest addition to this, and it's basically having cameras on the school buses to really try and stop the amount of people that pass school buses with their flashing red lights on. The Spencerport School District has only had this program since October 6th. It is October 22nd. Almost 150 violations have occurred so far of people passing stopped school buses. Since the beginning of the school year, I think there's 5 school districts that participate so far. There have been 1,200 violations. When we heard about this program last year, Chief Gray and I, the program had been in existence for 6 months, and there were 10,000 violations. That's 10,000 potential opportunities for kids to get hurt. This project pays for itself, and then I'm told, although we're yet to see it, that some of the remaining funds come back to the residents in one way, shape, or form. So I just wanted to say thank you, especially to our bus drivers who really don't get a tremendous amount of thanks for all that they do inside the school bus. This is a great initiative for things outside the school bus. I actually had it on my report to talk about the electric mandate by the governor and by the majority in both houses. One of the things that I will say is that we actually have a tremendous amount of development that's going on in the town of Ogden, and all you'd have to do is take a look at any planning board meeting over the last 3 years to see that it's commercial, it's residential, it's single family, multi-family. I mean, it's just about homes that have been developed with seniors in mind, patio homes, cluster development. I mean, it's a significant portion of a lot of our employees' day is working on new construction. And I'll be honest, because I sit on these calls, there is a clamoring of every developer, and I'll get to that point, every developer to get building permits now. And the reason, I mean, none of these developers end up living in these homes. They know that at the end of the day, they have to sell these homes. And the market and the data, not my opinion, or it was mentioned a political party, the data shows that when people have a choice, not just in energy or whatever, when people have a choice, they actually feel more free. The cost certainly goes up by a significant portion for all electric. And also the state are the ones that set the electric rate, which is going up astronomically starting January 1st. So I'm not, this is not a statement about clean or dirty or left or right. It's a statement about choice, and it's a statement about if there is a choice for people and they really want that, that's available to them. And what we don't love is that what happens is that the governor on multiple occasions is trying to take away what's called home rule. This has been opposed and overturned numerous times where the towns, and each town is set up differently. You're able to enact certain code. A lot of that is eroding the local choice and why you have local officials to make these decisions on behalf of residents. I mean, we all get voted in because residents say this is what we want. I'd also remind us that the school district is a great example. I actually went to the school board meeting, and I told the board that they would be foolish to not put electric vehicles on the ballot for residents because the math made sense to me. So I supported the school district doing that, and the community did not. So I think that there are other thoughts and other opinions. I think that's great. And for me, I will be voting yes on this. And to be honest, all it is it's declaring support for the notion that there should be choice. That's it. I mean, the governor can choose to do whatever they want. It is my opinion and the opinion of the majority of residents that I speak to that they equally don't want to be pigeonholed into a single utility. So that's really it. By the way, that is up for consideration for this board. There is no assumptions in these resolutions. The board is certainly free to choose to vote the way that they feel compelled to. And that's it for me. So, Councilman Baker.
Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. The number one responsibility of a town board is the physical wellness of its community. That's why what we're doing up here. This is our responsibility to oversee the physical wellness of Ogden. And I have to commend Sherry, and I have to commend all of our department heads that are here today that worked with her. And I especially have to commend you, Supervisor, on putting this well thought out, well laid out package for all of us to vote on tonight. Because to me, this is what it's all about. This is why we're sitting up here today. And this is why the residents in the town of Ogden are better today than they were yesterday and moving forward into the future. And it's because we have leadership in this town, department heads in this town that understand and care enough to put so much time and effort into putting together this type of budget. And I really do have to commend everybody involved on this. So when it does come up for a vote today, I will be voting in the affirmative, emphatically in the affirmative. So, but commend all of you. Kudos to all of you for that. So thank you. That's it.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Gerbino.
Speaking on the energy piece, I'm just going to say very simply, everyone on this board is also a town resident. And as a resident, we are looking to do the best for ourselves, and we listen to our constituents on what they want. Mike expounded on the constituency. I know where I'm going on the electric issue based on the reality of the reliability, the age of the infrastructure in this state, and putting the cart before the horse. I don't care Democrat or Republican on that. I don't vote based on Democrat or Republican on issues that affect everybody in this town. If they're issues of livelihood and sustainability, it'll take me one way or another based on all of the elements that are attached to that. So thank you for your input, but at this point, the cart is way before the horse on the electric versus electric and gas as we have it right now until the infrastructure and the electric grid is upgraded way beyond where we're at. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Hinman?
Yeah, I don't really want to talk about that resolution right now. I came up, I wanted to talk more about what's going on in our community right now and time of year we're in right now, and I just want to encourage people to get out. This is my favorite time of year. I want people to get out into the community, go to our local parks. It's a beautiful time of year. The fauna is starting to get into full bloom here, so I want to see people getting out there. Also, we live in a town in a village that we have really good quality soccer teams that we're top of the one of the tops in the state, definitely in the county. And I want to see people get out there and support our kids. This is the time of year to do it, and it's a good time. It's cheap entertainment, and it's supporting the community. And so that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Councilman. On that note, I actually forgot, speaking of getting out in the community, this Saturday from 10 a.m. to noon is our annual town trick-or-treat. It's phenomenal. It's in the village. I know that our Parks and Rec always has a tent with some information and goodies. And again, thanks again to you and your crew for putting that on. It's going to be a blast. Councilman Toms.
Thank you, Supervisor. I'll just echo the thoughts of Councilman Baker on the budget preparation. Wonderful job by all of you. Sherry, I know you've spent many hours working on this, and along with Supervisor Zale. So thanks to all on that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Highway Superintendent Doug Case.
Yes. Crews are out
doing leaf pickup as they keep falling and progressing along here, so we're on that, finishing up brush. And, we're in the process of filling up our salt barns, getting ready for winter.
Very good. Town Clerk, Receiver of Taxes, and Deputy Town Supervisor Noel Burley.
Where'd that come from?
I don't know.
We are still, collecting the late payments for school. We've got another 2 weeks, and then we'll be done with school tax collection. And we are almost done with sending all the receipts, so that's what we're working on now, is getting all the receipts out, so. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, well, there being no other unfinished business, we'll move to new business. Madam Clerk?
Resolution 257, adopting the 2026 preliminary budget as the Town of Ogden's 2026 annual budget.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Hinman, seconded by Councilman Gerbino. Is there any discussion on this? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Congratulations. Thank you. Next, please.
Resolution 258, authorizing Ogden Town Supervisor Mike Sale to execute an agreement with ADP, Inc. for the provision of payroll and HR system optimization services.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Baker, seconded by Councilman Toms. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. Next, please.
Resolution 259, declaring support for Congressman Nick Langworthy's Energy Choice Act, HR 3699, Senate 1945, and opposing government-mandated natural gas bans.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Gerbino, seconded by Councilman Hinman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. I'd entertain a motion to move to work session.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Tom, seconded by Councilman Baker. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Item carries. We'll take a very brief recess, and then we're going to move to a town work session. It is still a public